I hope you can hear my voice. Rekha, Meghana, Priyanka, Bhargavi, Kirti, Archana, Gangotri, very warm welcome. And a few other names which are new to me. Very warm welcome to all. In this live, we are going to know more information about the physiological activities or different life process happens in the plants versus human beings. Now, which were the different activities happens in the plants compared to the human beings? Now, this difference we are going to study in this session. Now, I am going to share the screen. After that, I unable to see the viewers. Let me see now. No addition of the students. Arnav ji, thank you for your entry. Thanks for your thumbs up. Okay. Viewers, when I share the screen, your chat will be not visible. Okay, Revati, welcome. So, let me start the session. Very few has been entered. Let wait for few more seconds. Okay, Arnav, you just completed 12th standard. And you didn't continue your studies. Okay, don't waste our time. Let me start the session. So, you're seeing the plants. The growth is so lushy. The leaves are so greenish. Do you know why? The plants grow better when there is supply of the water, supply of the nutrients. Then it develops the better leaves, better foliage, and very healthy growth. Very important thing is supply of the water, supply of the nutrients for the plants. Very essential. That means the plants require nutrition. Nutrition plays a major role in development of the plants. Now, how the plants get nutrition? The plants don't eat the food like us, but they absorb the water and nutrients from the root system. They absorb the water and nutrients from the root system. After absorbing the water and minerals, it enters into the leaf. This is the section of the leaf. When you see the section of the leaf, you find these parts. Which are the parts? If you observe clearly at the upper region, you can see midrib and leaf lamina. When you take the section, you can find upper epidermis and lower epidermis. Upper epidermis, as you see, there is no breakage. When you see at the lower epidermis, there is breakage. Upper epidermis is covered by the cuticle, whereas lower epidermis is disturbed by the stomata. Stomata plays a very major role in plants. What is that? The pore stomata will help in exchange of gases. The plants usually absorb the carbon dioxide from the stomata. Stomata are the pores. Stomata are the pores which helps in exchange of gases, where it absorbs the carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. Stomata also take part in removal of excess of water, that is through transpiration. When you see in the center, more number of parenchymatous cells. Along with that, you find xylem and phloem also. Xylem absorbs the water and supplies it here to the parenchyma cells. Stomata absorbs carbon dioxide and supplied here. Along with that, the sunlight falls on this. On this in the sense on the leaves. So, the three very important things: carbon dioxide from the stomatal pore, water collected from the xylem, and sunlight will be absorbed with the help of chlorophyll pigment, which is abundantly found in the leaf. All these three raw materials are used to prepare food. Like this, the plants obtain the food for lushy, healthy foliage and for all other physiological activities. And this process is known as photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is very important, which helps in preparation of food. What is that food? The food always in the form called carbohydrates. This is about the plant nutrition, how the plant prepare the food. I hope everybody can hear this. Can you hear me? Sukubali, thank you for your comment. Bhargavi, very warm welcome. I hope everybody can hear me. Lakshmi Narayana, thanks for your visit. Plasma Gaming Studio, this is very good gaming channel. Okay, thank you Revati. Okay, I'll continue. I'll share the screen so that I can't view the chats later. Okay, this is how the leaf is a very important part in preparing the food. That is photosynthesis. So these are the stomatal pore structures. Stomata plays a major role in exchange of gases. During photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is absorbed. After photosynthesis, oxygen is released out. One structure is stomata is opened and the other one is closed. And how this phenomena takes place, that is very important. Availability of the water content. When the plant absorbs more water, the stomatal guard cells become turgid. That means it swells. And the pore gets opened. And when there is availability of water is less, then obviously the guard cells become flaccid. That means they shrink and stomata get closed. So for opening and closing mechanism, water is very, very essential. So stomata plays a very important role in exchange of gases and also in transpiration. Okay, how the nutrition takes place in microorganisms like amoeba? Very simple, amoeba absorbs the food by diffusion. After that, it forms a food vacuole. And inside the amoeba, there will be amylase enzyme which breaks the food and absorbed by the amoeba. And later, the waste will be removed immediately by simple mechanism diffusion. How the nutrition takes place in human beings. I think audible. This is human digestive system. How the nutrition takes place in human beings. Obviously, we cannot prepare the food. We consume the food. We eat the food. Either it is in a herbs form or meat form. Herbs or meat. We intake the food by the mouth. Do you know? A little part of the food will be digested in the food. Little part of the food digested in the mouth by salivary glands. How the salivary glands secretes salivary juice and partial little part of the food will get digested in the mouth. And then a semi-jelly food enters into esophagus. Esophagus is a food pipe which undergo peristaltic movement and pushes the food into stomach. When the food enters into the stomach, very important role, that is secretion of gastric juice. Many times we feel gastric problems, right? Acidity problem because of over secretion of gastric juice. The gastric gland secretes gastric juice which contain HCl, hydrochloric acid. This hydrochloric acid kills the germs which enters along with the food. And the stomach wall has mucus glands which secretes mucus. That mucus prevents the ulcers, usually happens from gastric juice. So HCl, it may damage the stomach wall, but that will be prevented by mucus secreted by mucus glands. As soon the gastric juice is secreted, the pepsin and renin enzymes get activated. Pepsin digests the proteins. Renin converts the milk into insoluble curds. I think audible. This about the process happens in the stomach. Little bit digested, but not completely digested. And then it enters into small intestine. Before entering into small intestine, the pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, and some of the enzymes like peptidase, lipase, amylase present in pancreatic juice digest the food. And when it enters into small intestine, before entering into small intestine, the liver, which secretes the bile juice, digests the fat present in the food by emulsification of fat. And when it enters into small intestine again, digestion process continues like trypsin, peptidase, lipase, amylase, maltase. These are some of the enzymes which digest the food. Okay, complete digestion takes place in small intestine, and they have villi-like structure, villi are finger-like structures which absorbs the digested food and supply it to the body, and rest of the undigested food removed from the large intestine. This is how happens in human body. Plants nutrition is so simple, whereas animal nutrition part is so complex. This is the other physiological process called respiration. Respiration is common for both plants and animals. This is the common process which happens both in plants and animals. After nutrition, that means the plants produce carbohydrates, animals consume carbohydrates that will be digested, and it converts into smallest particle called glucose, and that glucose enters inside the cell, and this process takes place. The glucose, when it enters into cytoplasm, it converts into pyruvate. Usually glucose is 6-carbon compound. Pyruvate is 3-carbon compound. The glucose, as soon as it enters into cytoplasm, it converts into pyruvate. And here again the respiration can go with two types, that is aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is breaking of glucose in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration takes place in absence of oxygen. The first two flowchart showing about anaerobic respiration. That means in absence of oxygen. In first arrow, in absence of oxygen, commonly in the yeast cells, the pyruvate breaks down into ethanol and carbon dioxide with less amount of energy. Ethanol is 2-carbon molecule. The second one is also anaerobic respiration. In absence of oxygen in our muscle cells, due to oxygen deficit, pyruvate directly converts into lactic acid and little amount of energy. The third one, in presence of oxygen, that is aerobic respiration, which takes place in mitochondria, converts into carbon dioxide and water with more amount of energy. Only aerobic respiration provides us more amount of energy. So, we require more amount of energy for better respiration. And how to increase your more amount of oxygen retention in your lungs? By regular lung exercise. Now, how you going to do your lung exercise? How you are going to enhance your lung capacity? Take a water bottle, discarded water bottle, wash it cleanly. Take the mouth part, cut it and attach a balloon. And at the mouth region, cut region, you just blow with maximum capacity. The balloons swells. Do it regularly, automatically your lung capacity increases. This exercise brings you a small breathing activity and also increasing your lung capacity. This is how the respiration takes place in microorganisms, in the plants and in the animals. This is common phenomenon. Takes place both in plants and animals. But in human beings we have respiratory system. In human beings we have respiratory system, that is a pair of lungs. So, you are seeing the picture. Our human beings have a pair of lungs. Now let me start from the nose. As we breathe air from the nose, we intake oxygen from the nose, enters into nasal cavity, trachea. Before entering into trachea, it has to pass larynx and pharynx. It enters into pharynx and then larynx, voice box, where vibration takes place and the sound is formed, and enters into trachea. Trachea is having a C-shaped cartilaginous bones and it branches into two bronchi, enters into two lungs, and inside the lungs, bronchi divides into bronchioles, more number of bronchioles, and ends with the air sacs. Air sacs are very important. They are called as alveoli. Alveoli are the air sacs where actually exchange of gases takes place. That means intaking of oxygen and leaving out carbon dioxide. This finally takes place in air sacs. You can see the orange, a small balloon-like structures beside and those are alveoli. This is happen in human beings, which is not found in plants. And next is, after purification, that is intake of oxygen and leaving out carbon dioxide, the blood is purified in the lungs. And what happens then? The purified blood enters into the heart. Heart is a very important organ which transports the pure blood to the body and collects impure blood again into the heart and supply to the lungs. So, lungs and heart exchanging the pure and impure blood. So, the heart and the lungs plays very important role in exchange of pure and impure blood. Now let me see how the pure and impure blood is collected in the heart. You can observe the blue indication and the blue side from the vena cava, impure blood is collected and passed into right auricle and then right ventricle. And then this impure blood carried to the lungs for the purification. And that is carried by pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery. Only pulmonary artery carries the impure blood. And rest of the arteries carries pure blood. Only pulmonary artery carry impure blood. When the blood is supplied to the lungs, purification takes place and then it enters again into the heart by pulmonary veins. You just observe the right side of the heart, pulmonary veins. So, pulmonary veins collect the pure blood. Only pulmonary veins carry the pure blood, but rest of the veins carry impure blood. Enters into left atrium, left ventricle, and finally it enters into aorta, and aorta supplies the pure blood to throughout the body. So this is a complex process, happens each and every second in our body with the help of pumping organ which pumps the blood by rhythmic contraction and relaxation. And how the transportation takes place in plants? This is how the transportation takes place in human beings. How the transportation takes place in plants? This is a tree showing the arrow marks. The aromas started from the roots, entering into the trunk, supplied to the branches and to the leaves, and finally outside. What is this? How it is possible? Roots absorbs water and minerals by xylem. Xylem plays a major role in conducting water and minerals from the soil to the plant. Once the water enters inside the plant, automatically the xylem tissue along with the xylem vessels, it forms a capillary movement and carries to the tip of the tree. How it is possible? How the water absorbed in the roots? There will be concentration variation of ions between the root and the soil. This is very important concept. The concentration of ions between the root and soil helps in absorption of water molecules from the soil to the roots. By the concentration of ions, the movement of water takes place from the soil to the root. Then it enters into xylem tissue, and the xylem is, you can find throughout the plant, and throughout the plant the water will be moved from lower side to the upper side, from the soil to the shoot. And how this possible? Here a suction force is created. How the suction force is created? By simple method called transpiration. Transpiration creates transpiration pull, and by that the water molecules starts moving from the root to the shoot and to the leaves. Transpiration pull plays a major role in transportation of water. And this about the movement of water. And what about the food? After photosynthesis, the food is prepared in the plant, and there will be other tissue called phloem. From the leaves through the phloem, the food is transported from the leaves to different parts of the plant. Okay, transpiration pull creates a pressure, the water will be supplied. And how the food from the phloem, it is supplied to other parts of the plant? Yes, by translocation of food. What is translocation of food? The translocation of food is movement of soluble nutrients, that is in form of sucrose, from the leaf to different parts of the plant by phloem tissue is known as translocation of the food. This takes place with the help of phloem tissue. So this is about transportation in plants. The transportation of food by the phloem, the transportation of water by the xylem. And after transportation and nutrition, obviously the next process is excretion. Now how the excretion takes place? In human beings, it is by the pair of kidneys. Removal of nitrogenous waste. How the removal of nitrogenous waste is created in human body? By formation of urine. The kidneys removes the nitrogenous waste, mixes with water, and that is known as urine. And urine is collected by the ureters, and that is collected in urinary bladder, and finally removed by the urethra. This is how the nitrogenous waste is removed in our body, human bodies. And this is possible only by the structural functional unit of the kidneys. They are nephrons. Nephrons are the structural functional unit of kidneys, where this involves in the formation of urine. Urine is formed by the first step, glomerular filtration. You see the Bowman's capsule, there the filtration takes place, and hence that is called glomerular filtration. And then it enters into proximal convoluted tubule, Henle's loop, and distal convoluted tubule. These are supplied with good number of capillaries, where the capillaries absorb the nutrients and essential salts, and rest of unnecessary waste, nitrogenous waste, is removed by the collecting tubule. This is how finally the urine is formed in the kidneys with the help of nephrons. And how this takes place in plants? In the plants, there is no excretory system, no kidneys, no nephrons, no specialized structures. But how the waste is removed? The plant waste products are usually stored in cellular vacuoles, and the plants remove the excretory waste by dropping their leaves, and other waste products are stored in the form of resins and gums. Especially it is stored in old xylem, and by dropping the leaves, by dropping the fruits, these are the some of the phenomena where the waste will be removed from the plants. So this is about different physiological activities between the plants versus human beings. Till now, we studied, we come to know the plants prepare the food by photosynthesis, whereas animals, they have complex digestive system with many number of enzymes. With the help of enzymes, it will be digested. When we come towards the respiration, the plants, animals, microorganisms respire in the same way. That is in two ways, that is aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Even in our body, we too have aerobic and anaerobic respiration. How? We breathe, we intake the oxygen. That is aerobic respiration. When you run, when athletics run faster, suddenly they found a muscle cramp. Suddenly they fall on the ground. Very immediately they are unable to walk, run. Why? In the muscles they feel oxygen deficit. There won't be any supply of the oxygen deficit, hence muscle cramps, and they immediately fall on the ground. That is anaerobic respiration. In the muscles, when we do more hard work, we feel anaerobic respiration because oxygen deficit and muscle cramps are found. So don't do the muscular activities continuously without taking break. You take the break and do the muscular activity, body exercises, field work, agriculture work, and even your brain work. Give the break and then you continue your works. If not, muscle cramps, oxygen deficit always produces what? Lactic acid. Lactic acid results in muscle cramps. So it's always better to have a break when we go for longer muscular activities. And then transportation. Transportation in plants and animals. Very simple. In the plants, transportation is by xylem and phloem. Xylem conducts the water by transpiration pull. Phloem conducts the food by translocation of sap or food. And how that takes place in human beings? With the help of very good pumping organ, which is the size of our left hand side fist, that is heart. Heart helps in transportation. And which is the fluid which helps in transportation? Obviously the blood. Blood helps in transportation of food, oxygen, and removing the carbon dioxide. And how the blood helps? The blood have different components: plasma, red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, and platelets. Plasma is a protein, water-rich liquid, helps in transportation. RBC carries oxygen and the food. RBC is red in color because of the pigment hemoglobin. WBC, which fights, which defends our body, fighting against the germs, fighting against the pathogens, fighting against some of the antigens, foreign antigens enters inside the body. Very immediately it produces antibodies and fights, and they are real soldiers of our body, WBC. And what about platelets? These are the fragments, helps in clotting of the blood. This is about human transportation. And finally, excretion. Animals have a pair of kidneys, removes the nitrogenous waste by the formation of urine. And how the plants remove the waste? The plants remove the waste by storing it in cellular vacuoles. The waste products may be stored in leaves, and in the season it drops. Remove the waste by falling the leaves and fruits. But that may be not required for the plants, but the fruits are very nutritious for the animals. And even the waste products are stored in the form of resins and gums, and sometimes it is stored in old xylem. And also removal of the barks. The barks will be removed, peeled out like this. The waste excretory products from the plants will be removed. This is how the different physiological activities takes place in the plants versus human beings. I hope you got the concepts clearly, and this is very essential to know that human beings and the plants are common in almost all activities. So why we should give only priority for human beings? We get oxygen from the plants, we get food from the plants, and we give very less importance for the plants. This should not happen. We should not become selfish. We should give importance equally to human beings and the plants. So I think you all grow the plants, and not for the fashion, not for the passion. They are equally important. If you want to survive, if you need more oxygen, and if your lungs should function clearly, and your body should get more proteins, carbohydrates, everything depending on the plants, it is not possible by the human beings. So give more importance for the plants, grow plants for your better health. Okay, I think the session was audible. Hi Sanjeevani ji, thank you for your visit. Ara Gold, thank you for your visit. Very warm welcome to all new entries. I hope the voice is audible. Okay, thank you, Revati. Did you hear the voice till the completion of the session? Thank you, Prashant. New entry. Lakshmi Narayana, new entry. Thank you for your visits. Okay, Rekha. So this is the positive feedback. So I think the concepts were little bit better with the slides, right? Okay, Gaurappa, new entry. Yogesh, thank you. Okay, Priyanka, thank you for your entry. Hope this session was useful. Kirti, Yellappa. So, everybody, thanks for your visit. And I hope this session was useful. It's not boring, right? It's not boring. Wash hands. Why? Why, Kavita? Why you should wash your hands? Okay, wash your hands frequently to keep COVID-19 away. Okay, Revati, her reply was no, ma'am. What's your problem, Revati? Prashant, no, ma'am. What is that? What's your problem? You didn't hear the voice? You didn't see the visuals? Okay, Lakshmi Narayana has no problem. Okay, anywhere if you have complications, you just chat and tell me. I'll just give my audio for that. Thank you. This session is not boring. Thank you so much. Okay, if you have any complicated area, I'll just rewind it. You just chat and tell me. Anywhere, any confusions? Venkataraju, I don't know who is behind that. So saying that yes, ma'am. So I think the voice session was clearly heard. Okay, I hope session was cleared, and let me have a talk on the complicated area. Any complicated area? Okay, thank you. So, no complicated area, so that we can wind up the session. Ara Gold. Hi sis, thank you for your comment. I look at your channel. Okay, this session also we have very few members. So let me hope more number in next session. Thank you. I'll wind up the class. I'll wind up this session. Thank you for your visit. So I think this is useful.